Hey guys, Don here. Welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery, trying to get your office to the $1 million mark for individual production. If you feel like you want more help, I would recommend you joining the Practice Mastery Academy. It's super cheap, I think, compared to what it can bring you back. It should return in multiples if you actually use the stuff. That's the biggest challenge I find, though, is people are busy, right? So everyone's busy. No one has time to learn. We're too busy kind of humping it. So I'll give you some things in there that really the best time saver for me lately has been my scribe. I heard about a scribe years ago. It took me a long time to use it, but now I'm using it. His name is Morali, and it gives me a lot of joy and a lot more simplicity in my life. It actually gives me more time so I can do these types of things in between patients and things like that. Wanted to share a little story here in New England and Massachusetts, where I'm at. Getting a lot of snow, and the other day my kids were playing outside in the snow. I have two kids. They're 7 and 9 right now, and they were playing King of the Hill, and they were kind of pushing each other off the hill, trying to topple each other off. And as my son doesn't zip his jacket, and he leaves it all open, and he doesn't put gloves in his hands and all this thing. But it made me think of kind of indirectly, we're all kind of trying to develop a marketing system so that we can be the king of the hill in the communities. I know a lot of us think, oh, we're colleagues. We are, but we also need to have a good marketing system to get patients in the door. They're not just going to come because we are great, because we're capable, and things like that. I've talked a lot about different marketing systems, but I want to tell you what I actually do. I think what I would like to do and what I actually do are two different things. I think we're all the same way. Like, I have all these great grandiose ideas of what I would like to do, but what I actually do is different. So let me walk you through. There's a process I like to look at. So I'm going to talk about what we do before, during, and after, kind of as our marketing process on our actual practice. And I'm going to talk about a few things that I've stopped that really didn't work on, and some things that I'd like to do in the future. So currently, what I talk about before, during, after, this is an idea I got from I Love Marketing. It's a kind of just a framework of what you do before the patient comes in, what you do during the patient encounter, and then what you do after. Okay, so most of us focus our time on the before, trying to get new patients. But before I preface this, I just want to say it's a lot easier to keep the patients that you have and go back to those patients because they already like you. But we'll talk about how we get them kind of in the office, the new patients and things like that. So online, we have many Google reviews, and the way we get those Google reviews is we have an orchestrated method. A couple of means. One is our website currently is with Patient Pop, and they send out an email asking them to give us a review every time. We have something called Patient Education Genius, which is something else that goes out to patients when we send out patient education information, and it asks them to do an online review on Google. And then when we finish seeing patients, we can send them something via Patient Education Genius to give us a review. So we actively do that. So that's how we get the reviews. And then patients, they say, oh, you guys have more 5 stars than anyone else. We'll come and see you. On our website, we have a couple of things. We have a blog. Sometimes they get articles from there. I find our website, the one we have with Patient Pop, isn't the best because in terms of, it's good for patients that are ready for an appointment, because it can make an appointment. But for those that aren't ready to make an appointment right now, it doesn't have a lot of good resources. So I have another site that we're kind of working on that has more what we call lead magnets in there, and I'll get to that in a second. YouTube, we don't get many patients from YouTube. I find once in a while a patient comes in from a deep dive. Those are actually my best patients. The patients, let's say they've watched all my videos on plantar fasciitis or Achilles tendonitis, and then they come in because they're very prepared. Social media, once again, we get a few people that come in from social media, but I think I was even just talking recently to some people about social media. Like our age demographic skews a little bit older, and so they tend to be more on like Facebook versus Instagram. And then the last thing, I think some patients come in because we have a chat bot where they can easily ask questions from the staff. But once again, the chat bot and the appointments are things that we're ready to do right now. Other places we get it are centers of influence like PCPs. They continue to send patients over. I always ask patients where they come in. So if they come in now, who sent you? Usually it's a PCP or online. Shoe stores once in a while send people over. Physical therapists once in a while refer over. Patients, I'll also refer patients, friends and family. That's always a big one. It's always a nice one because they're already ready and they kind of know us. I'll go a little bit into lead magnets on my Dr. Pelto site, drpelto.com. I do have lead magnets on there. If you're not familiar with a lead magnet, what it is basically just a book download. Now, I've gone through a lot of renditions of using someone on Fiverr to design mine, where I paid them. I wrote it. I had someone else edit it. What I find the easiest process currently, and I think it's always easy, it's better to find easy, is I use Google Docs. So in Google Docs, just like a lot of the things I do right now, it's real easy. You can make your outline for your book. You can kind of write it between patients. You can dictate it. You can do however you want it. I like these books or guides or reports, whatever you want to call it. I would do one. I've kind of in the past I've done different things. I've made books on specific diagnoses. That can be helpful. But if it's not general enough, so I've made some other ones that have like 5 mistakes for certain types of things. So I like the mistakes ones because patients can do that. And then once they download the book, then they go on to our weekly emails, and that's something that we put together as well. That weekly email sequence offering them appointments and things like that. So if you don't have a lead magnet, I would just make one. You can look at mine and kind of copy mine. That's fine, or do something similar. But you have to have a method of them downloading. You can just have them download on the site if you just put the PDF. But I find it's better if you can get their email. And then you can start sending emails to them. Okay, that's the before if they're not ready for an appointment. Social media outsourcing, that's something that I do currently. I pay someone $100 a week, and I record the video, they do the thumbnail, they post it on YouTube, and then the little short versions of it, they post on Instagram and Facebook for me. So that's something for me that's worth it to do the outsourced of the thumbnails because I don't really like the thumbnails. Regarding the lead magnet, when I write it, I don't spend a ton of time. I would say it shouldn't take you more than a couple of hours to write this thing. And the main thing is you don't want to write it in doctor ease. You don't want to write it in technical. You want to write it like at the like 6th grade writing level, and you want to tell stories. That's what patients like. A lot of them won't even read it, so they'll just like can download it. So I would make sure if you look at mine, it has our office clinic information, a little intro, some stories, some information. About the condition. So it's pretty easy to do. And then for the what's it called, the cover, I just did that in Canva. So we have a Canva subscription. It's really inexpensive. You can get other ones and you just kind of edit those. So that's the before. That's kind of everything we do to kind of get patients into the office. Then there's the during experience. A couple of things that we do to wow our patients, I guess, would be like technology. We have all the shockwave, we have ultrasound, we have digital x-rays, we have a nice looking office. So it kind of wows them when they come in. We have nice staff. We offer them coffee, water, things like that if they're waiting a little bit. We use a couple of technology things we have, like Patient Education Genius, which is where we can send patient education information to them afterwards digitally. So all of those things kind of give the during experience, and we have everything kind of one-stop shopping to make it easy for them. A lot of the things that we dispense in the office just makes it a lot easier. So our during experience is their experience when they come in, how they're greeted, everything else like that that's orchestrated, and then how when we see them. And then afterwards, what we do is I do a weekly email newsletter. I tried monthly, but I find that weekly was better. My dream would be doing a print one, but I didn't know who to send it to because we have so many patients. It would just be costly. The thought is if maybe I could find, let's say, one of the shoe stores that would like to have an ad in there, and we could do a combined one, and then they maybe would pay for it, or someone else would help pay for that. That would make it easier to do the print one. And sending it out to patients. I like that idea. I just haven't done that. I do an email one once a week, and I try to put personality in my email. So if you download any of my ebooks, you would be added to the newsletter list, right? And then you could get that weekly newsletter, and this keeps us in front of the patients. My patients, and in there, I might give a little bit of information, but mostly it's about developing a relationship. I know this is kind of odd, but they just want to know about us. They want to know kind of what we do, about our kids, kind of the way I told you the story about my kids playing King of the Hill. They like those things. I talked about like how I hurt my finger on a like um, um, a chopper for chopping vegetables. And then when a patient actually brought me in a cleaner for something like that, it was like a grout cleaning brush. But like they're reading it, they're liking it. They don't comment though. That's the challenge. They don't comment, so you don't know if they're reading it, but they are, and they like the stories more so than just pure content. So, and then we do have a couple of automated follow up things within Athena. If a patient hasn't been seen in 365 days and they don't have an appointment scheduled, it'll send them a text and email follow up at 1 year and at 2 years. I got this idea from my eyeglass company. They sent me actually 3 of these via text and email after I didn't make my 1 year appointment. It's pretty easy to do technologically to set it up, and it works well for getting patients. I tried the do a bulk one where it did everyone. That was just too big, and I got a lot of phone calls, people upset. So I didn't use the phone call one where it calls them, but it just does the text message and email. That's something pretty easy. And I think the key is to make things that are kind of automated and easy to do. And the way I make some of these things easy is like the videos that I make. I try to do them like one time a week in like block time. Just I usually get it done in the beginning of the week, and I send it to my guy, or I do 2 or 3 of them. I just do them on Zoom. So I open up Zoom. I might have some slides I'm sharing, or I might just talk about a question that I get. What this company did, this social media company, is I think they put something in Chat GPT with a lot of like the main things I wanted to focus on, which would be like shockwave, orthotics, different high revenue producing items. And then they made a series of questions and they put that in something called Notion. And then I just go through those and I write a few notes and I just ad lib talk. And I have a nice kind of a fake background, and that's how I do that. So I do that once a week. I write my newsletter. I try to have 2 or 3 renditions or weekly newsletters completed. If you're going to do a newsletter, be consistent, and I would send it to someone to have them check it. So I always send it. I write it in Notion because that's a really easy way to kind of keep my things organized. If you're not if you know what Notion is, it's called Notion.io. I'll put a little link under this one where you can see my marketing, my Wikipedia I made on practice management, so you can see how I use kind of a Notion there. And then from that Notion, I put that into Kajabi, which is what I use for my website for the newsletter. And you can use anyone that you want. So that's pretty simple. It took a while to get used to doing it. It was a little awkward. What are some things that I've stopped? Well, a lot of the print ads I kind of stopped. We were doing something called Community Advocate, where we did articles once a week, and they were kind of like advertorials, like almost like an article written with an advertisement in there. We didn't see we saw some results, but not great results. We were doing webinars, and we did those for a while, but it's hard to get the doctors on the webinar calls. We had a good response, but what I did is I recorded them. So we have them kind of recorded now, and we can use them as evergreen material where we can give out to the patients. We did a Catholic newsletter as well once, because one of my partners here is Catholic, and he said, "Oh, let's try this." So we've tried some things that really didn't pan out for us, or maybe we weren't consistent about doing it. But I just want to, these are my actual marketing things that I do. Now I do have a lot of other dreams of what I would like to do, but these are the things that I'm actually doing to help grow. And I think if I could just keep one, I would keep my email newsletter. If I had to get rid of everything and only do one thing, it would be my email newsletter to my patients. How do you add them to the list? Well, within Athena, once a month, it makes me a report of all the new emails, and I just upload that because you have to upload that. My staff don't do it. I do it automatically. So that's kind of how I do it. Hope that's helpful. If you have any other ideas, let me know. I'm going to put a couple of links underneath here to my Wikipedia, and also to the website that I use for if you need a website. Once again, I'm not a website guy, but this is the one I use to send out emails. It's called Kajabi. There are other ones that you could use as well. Okay. Until next time, thanks.